Welcome to The Bug, everyone. Today we're talking about what?
Reading it like Gary Neville doing a Huel advert. This is Huel. I love it.
Oh, I'm not used to doing the intro. Okay, welcome to The Bug, everyone. Culture Strips Travel Podcast.
Hey.
Yeah, thank you. What are we talking about today?
Do you know what? So we're talking about Cornwall. We're talking about a place that you know. This has just struck me. This is just something completely different. But someone was saying on the podcast when they've seen it before that this could technically be the Runner and the Ghostbuster podcast, which I thought would be a really nice name and something completely different. We should change it.
Is it catchy? The Runner and the Ghostbuster?
Yes, it is. I'd listen to that. I'd watch that.
Anyway,
let
me say. Let me start with saying Wessan. It's
this was the whole thing.
Yeah,
you got it all wrong.
I prepared these lines. Wait there. Let me just make. I'm just saying that correctly. I think that's Cornish for like how you doing. It's like what's occurring in like you're saying Welsh.
Yeah. And in the podcast when we talked to the locals, you got it completely wrong, or you just didn't get into it, or
no, I need to check this. And I know you hate me having notes, but I actually just checked this. Wasson.
Wait, so you got it wrong again?
Yeah, got it.
My.
And it's like, it is what's occurring. Wasson, Cassam.
Sure. Now, you've been to Cornwall quite a few times. I've never been. I think maybe I've just been to the outskirts. Why did you want us to discuss this region, which is a very popular region?
Okay. First off, I think what brought me back to wanting to talk about it is recently, not that recently, but certainly a few months ago, there's more press on Cornwall becoming its own nation again. Essentially the fifth nation within the UK. Again, which is like, wow. Like it's become it's like its own country, I think. Like how much pride must Cornwall? I don't know how realistic that is, and we get onto that chat. But I thought, come on, we've got to do a whole podcast on a place that wants to be its own country, has its own language. You know, they teach Cornish in the schools there. I love the pride of the place. And also the tourism numbers are nuts, right? I think, again, more stats that I've researched and I'm probably going to get wrong. If anyone quotes me, I'm in so much trouble. If anyone, like, don't Google this.
And this is recorded as well, so you can't get it wrong.
Whatever. But there's like, how many people? It's like 600,000 people that live in Cornwall. And I think there's, a couple of million people that will come over the year. No, in fact, like 20 million, I think it is. Again, stats completely
that's
wrong.
A big gap. A couple of million, 20 million.
I'm going again.
All right, he's going to check it.
No, that's good. So 5 million visitors.
All right, okay.
So 5 million visitors, 500k residents. It's crazy mass.
Yeah.
And when you, you compare the amount of local per tourist in terms of, capita, that's just, they're so reliant on tourism. And that far outstrips even London when it comes to, visitors per local, as it were. Yeah. So just, if you ask anyone, you're definitely 50% of them say I've been to Cornwall. And you're a rarity to say you haven't been.
I am, and working in travel as well, which is, quite an anomaly. But I from the chat, I really do want to go. I do want to see it. I do want to kind of visit some of the places that we talk about on the podcast. And it was a good lineup of guests, actually. You did well. You pulled out a couple of blinding guests on that one.
I got Mr. Cornwall. Didn't I?
Yeah.
Like ex-chairman or current chairman of Visit Cornwall.
Yeah. I love that he could even deal with all the asides that we were coming up with. It was just
Malcolm Bell. He's really, really warm to him. And of course, Judi.
Yeah.
From Watergate Bay.
I know you love that place.
It's hard not to, isn't it? I mean, man, it's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like a walking advert for that place, but I love Watergate Bay. Right. It's the best place ever.
Describe it. Is it on the coast? Is it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Right,
like it's just along from Newquay. Newquay's given a bit of a bad rep.
Yeah.
I don't want to get, but either side of Newquay are some beautiful little areas. Watergate being one of them. I really like Pentar. But yeah, anyway, Judi is she works for a number of hotels, but they tend to be beautiful coastal hotels, and specifically the Watergate one is it's a real big success story in Cornwall. But yeah, really looking forward to our chat. I feel like I did what I did last time with Over Tourism. I just talk about food again. I go off on one.
It's got its own cuisine, which is why I want it to be its own nation.
I asked the guy like what pasties he has, and then I said I'll talk about cream teas. I'm like, What am I trying to do a food blog or something? What's
Was
wrong
that the
with
one
me?
when our stomachs were rumbling, or was that another one that we did? That was
No,
early doors.
I asked Judi about cream teas and how she has her cream teas. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah,
You got to stop me from saying these things.
I will do in the future. All right.
Okay, so we get on with it.
Yeah, let's get on with it. Let's see George embarrass himself. Hello and welcome to the Bug Culture Trips podcast. I keep saying new podcast, but it's we're in the flow now. I think we've done a few, and we can
Fifth or sixth.
we can get through it quite well. You're George. Hello, George. I'm actually I haven't spoken to you for a while, but yeah.
Yeah.
George works with me at Culture Trip, and we've got some very special guests with us today. I'll let them introduce themselves. I'll go over to you first, Malcolm.
I'm Malcolm Bell. I used to run the regional tourist board for 10 years. And for 15 years now, I've been running Visit Cornwall, but first as chief executive, about 18 months as executive chair, and now I just sit on the board. But obviously that's 26 years out of tourism in the southwestern Cornwall.
Wow. Malcolm, you're literally Mr. Cornwall.
Yeah, I don't know about that. A few other words that have been used about me.
And then we've also got Judi joining us. Hello, Judi.
Hello. I've been in Cornwall nearly as long as Malcolm, actually. I arrived in Cornwall in 2000 and joined Watergate Bay Hotel in 2003. I'm now called the Chief Commercial Officer, but my world is all about brand and guest experience, marketing, and so on. So Malcolm and I have actually worked together for 25 years, almost on and off.
Wow. You've got a big advocate here for Cornwall in George. I know you visit regularly, and you second home, would you say? Or is it one of your favourite places to go?
Yeah, I mean, I go on about it loads. Obviously, Judi, I've been down to see you a couple of times. Loved it. Me and Judi, we obviously go back quite a long way, I'd say. We've done a couple of film shoots together.
We've made some great films together, haven't we?
Yeah, we did. Do you remember the one we did in was it lockdown? We did a little film about coming out of lockdown. I have such fond memories of that. It was great. Yeah. Well, listen, we're obviously here to talk all things Cornwall today, and there were so many things you could talk about Cornwall. Like I think we talked about the fact that they've suffered with over tourism. We've also on the flip side, we know it's kind of been very up and down the last couple of years in terms of tourism. But really, fundamentally, we decided that we should just do a whole podcast on Cornwall overall, because it's like the sort of outside of the major cities, I'd say Cornwall really is the sort of the top of the list when it comes to places that people visit. So there's so many things you want to discuss, and certainly in tourism, I don't know, it makes like 35,000 jobs. I was just reading up, and I was seeing things like, I think it's like 25% sometimes of an income of the average town. Is that right, Malcolm? I got my stats right?
I'll give you some up-to-date stats.
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Well, we've just had them done. In terms of the national, and I do mean England in this case, visitor economy of England, the country, the three top contributors to the national income are London, Manchester, followed by Cornwall. That's how important it is. And if you take into account the population, it makes Cornwall the most busiest, most effective, most impactful is the right word, visitor economy. There's 47,000 jobs through the supply chain and everything else. And yeah, you're right, it's about 20% of employment. And obviously it's also a geographical feature. If you go to the rural parts of Cornwall, between agriculture and the visitor economy and tourism, that's it. It's there'd be pretty bleak places if there wasn't any income coming in. And income-wise, it's worth about just over £5,500 per household. Obviously, it doesn't get distributed that way. But in terms of his overall, it's £2 billion worth of business turnover.
That's nuts. Actually, I mustn't skip this bit, because I've got some icebreakers for you that I wanted to do. And I should have done at the beginning. And you guys should know this, right? So this is like standard Cornwall knowledge, okay? So I've just got a couple of really basic questions. If you don't get these right, then you don't live and breathe Cornwall. So Malcolm, very basic question. What's the difference between a Cornish and a Devonshire pasty?
There's no such thing as a Devonshire pasty.
Oh, is that the right answer?
Wow. But what happens if we interview the Devon Tourist Board? Then we can't really advocate that.
Well, they just copied it. It's just...
Okay, fine. Judi, do you know the difference between a how the Cornish make a cream tea and how Devonshire make a cream tea.
Oh goodness! So this is which you put on first.
Yeah, correct. Also, I'd like your personal opinion on this as well, and just don't be polite to Malcolm in case it's not the Cornish way.
I don't know that's awful, isn't it? I don't know what the Cornish way is, but I used to come to Devon as a child for my holidays. We always put cream on first and then jam, but I don't know if that's right for Cornwall.
I shall let you into a state secret.
Yes.
There is a reason why the Cornish put jam on first, and I've got my grandmother's recipe here. Is that originally in Cornwall it was done on a milk bread called a split.
Oh yes.
So you sealed the bread with the jam, or else you'd have a soggy bit of bread.
Yes.
I can't get my head around jam first. I really feel you need to revisit that, Malcolm. Someone in your authority needs to probably speak to somebody and do something about that.
I think in a world of international crisis and conflicts, don't open that one up.
Let's not go down that road.
Is that okay? One for kissed armor then. But anyway, listen, my icebreakers are done. I'm gonna stop talking about icebreakers. But I did enjoy going down that rabbit hole of I got more stuff as well.
But
coming later.
I mean, obviously, you're very familiar with Cornwall. I'm approaching it more from someone who I think I've only been once, and even that was to the outskirts for a project we were doing. So what is the appeal of Cornwall? What do you think the appeal is? And maybe for an international audience as well, because you do get people from outside the UK and from England coming in as well. So what is the main appeal? What are people expecting to find when they come to Cornwall?
Firstly, it is slightly different to England, the language and the names and everything else. So it does get that different feel. I mean, really, the big difference is a combination of two things. One, the environment and the 400 odd miles of coast and 300 beaches and coves and coastline that's open. I spent Christmas in New Zealand and Australia, and I have to say I came back after 26 years of flogging their coast saying it's world class. And I truly believe it's world class because it's green and it's blue and it's beautiful. The beaches are all natural, they're not managed. And therefore, if you really love the coast and the beach, but also then you've got the food and the drink and the culture. So it's that combination.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Judi, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I absolutely echo what Malcolm has said. But then when you add into that all the activity, so food and drink over the last 20, 25 years it's amazing what's happened to food and drink in Cornwall. But there's always been the culture of surfing and being outdoors. And I think that sense of freedom that coming to Cornwall, when I talk to guests who come and stay with us, this sense of nostalgia, even if their parents and grandparents didn't come to Cornwall, we have it within our psyche that coming away to Cornwall is what you do. And then when people have, over the last 20 years, when there's been a real renaissance in Cornwall and people's interest in Cornwall, those memories that we're building for them are based on all these things that Malcolm has just talked about. We're making memories for people. We're giving people the freedom to have these wonderful holidays.
I have to say, I've spent quite a lot of time in Newquay, obviously near your neck of the woods, Judi.
Yeah.
And I love the fact at 4:00 most days, you get this sudden rush of kids and their dads and their mums legging it to the beach. And it's not just Fistral, it's Watergate as well. And it's almost like in central London where kids would go and play football, they go surfing in Cornwall. And I love that sort of I just really got that nice vibe of, even though it's known for tourism in Cornwall and how popular it is, how this community of people come out after school and it's not about kicking a football around, it's going for a surf. And I just thought that was brilliant. And I really warmed to every part of that.
Yeah, and interestingly, that we have a new hotel just along the coast from Watergate called Sea Space. It's on its way into Newquay, and we came at thinking about that specifically from the local community's perspective. How did we make a community first hotel because of what you've just described? You know, when you come and stay in Cornwall, you want to join that community. You want to be part of what it's like to live, every day in such a special county.
Judi, you mentioned the Renaissance that's happened in the last few years, which I think we've all seen, we've all experienced it in different ways. But Was there anything behind that? And Malcolm, was there anything you were actively doing to encourage more people to come to Cornwall?
I think the potted history now. Cornwall was popular. This is the third tranche of popularism of Cornwall. The first one was in the 20s and 30s and post-war, when it was be honestly, the higher paid middle class enjoying Cornwall. Then it was followed in the 60s, 70s, and 80s by mass tourism from, blue collar people. And then, of course, a lot of that then disappeared abroad. So in the mid 90s, we were put in the same category as Skegness and Bognor Regis as a development area. And this is where I give a plug for Watergate Bay. I think what happened is a lot of people, Watergate Bay and others, realised that, that era's gone and you've got to attract and change the product and change the experience. And it's basically brought back a people who can afford to go many other places, some people anywhere in the world, but they choose Cornwall. Might not be for their travel holiday, might not even be their first holiday, but they've just developed this love of Cornwall. And as Judi said, it's not just the scenery, it's because the food side has grown so much and the experiences. So it's now in a situation where, that's the big pull. It's got this big popular, it's where I go with my family, as Judi said, to make memories, but also almost to come at peace to yourself, being by the seaside, looking out on the ocean. It does something to people. And of course, we deliver it in spades.
I always look back when I arrived in 2000. I actually went to work for Rick Stein initially when I came to Cornwall. I think I arrived at one of the most amazing moments in 2000. Cornwall, I think, had just got Objective 1 funding from Europe. It was funneled into tourism, actually. There was the golden triangle of attractions that had, you'll have to help me out here, Malcolm, but we had the Tate, we had the National Maritime Museum, and Tim Smith was building Eden.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic time to be there. I then went to join Henry Ashworth at Watergate Bay, who absolutely was envisioning a beach that was for 365 days of the year, not just for those summer months. And Malcolm was at Southwest Tourism, weren't you? And there was I never remember its name, but there was this fantastic report written that I absolutely embraced, which was all about the long short break. It was all about experiential travel. That's when it started, 2000. And that was my mantra from then on, was how can we be part of that? How can we be part of making sure that people want to come to Cornwall every day of the year and come to the beach every day of the year? So.
I was going to say, actually, you mentioned I think the Eden Project there, and in sort of preparing for this little talk of ours, I've just gone through a little sort of research of tourism, and it really, I mean, we know this full well, Judi. It's gone all over the place, sort of roller coaster wise, and it'd be good to know from the trade point of view how you've seen things go the last 5-6 years. And I hate using the word pre-COVID, but like, can you give us and I know this is hard, like maybe a 1-minute summary of like how the last 5-6 years has gone, because it's felt like a proper journey, right?
Pre-COVID, so much had changed at Watergate Bay. We'd been on a, I suppose, 10-15 year journey to reposition Watergate Bay. We use this analogy of ski resort on the beach, but I won't unpack that. But we'd had Jamie Oliver's 15 Cornwall come and join us. We'd done a huge amount of development work, and I would say we were at the top of our game. There was fantastic levels of tourism the year previous to COVID. And then everything was turned off overnight. There was just a little story that Malcolm and I had a conversation at end of February, early March, just as COVID was getting going. At Watergate, we'd had polo on the beach for 10 years up until that point. We'd had a free-to-attend event that attracted thousands of people. I'd then been given the opportunity and the funding to put a free-to-attend opera on the beach that year. And I phoned Malcolm and said, do you think I should announce it? And he said, I just wait a couple of weeks, Judi, let this blow over. and then we were closed. And COVID was a very challenging period, of course, but it gave us the opportunity to reflect on who we were and what we were doing and how we might want to come back out of COVID and what should be important. And really, that's when we started thinking about our environmental credentials, going for B Corp, which is still a journey that we're on, and what more we should bring to our experience. When we came out of COVID, we all know what the problem was. We had huge overdemand and not enough team. I spent 18 months as cleaning rooms, as housekeeping staff, because there just wasn't enough of us to meet the demand that we had. And now we're kind of coming. We have enough team, and we've done all the training. And this isn't the best year in Cornwall. Malcolm will be able to talk more clearly about that, but it's not bad. The problem for us is our escalating cost base. So there's lots to juggle with, but we're still optimistic.
Brilliant. Malcolm, have you got anything to add to that?
I exactly know Judi described it. I remember that call. I remember where I was parked when I was talking to you, because I was umming and ahhing then. No, I think a couple of statistics. You'll find I get bored with statistics. 85% of our visitors have been to Cornwall before. Yes. 46 come every year. So, and some come as many times as 4 times a year. They're almost stalkers rather than visitors, but they're our friends. What happened with COVID is not only did everybody who used to come maybe every 2 or 3 years came out 2 years in a row because they couldn't go anywhere else. You had a load of other people who thought, well, I can't go to Ibiza or I can't go to wherever. I'll have to go to Cornwall.
Has Opera on the Beach come back? Has it happened? Are you looking to run it again?
It hasn't happened yet. There was everything that year. Everything came together. The Welsh National Opera were going to be in Cornwall recording at Jura Cathedral. I had somebody who was very eager for us to be able to bring opera free to attend to the beach. And none of those things have quite come together. But what we have done in the intervening time, we introduced an event called Arts on the Beach. So that was 2 years ago, and this year we had something slightly smaller called Wild on the Beach. So we'd always try and do something cultural or different, but our philosophy is that we should be creating free-to-attend events on the sand, because the beach is a free place to come. So why would it's really important.
I love Watergate so much, you know that. What I was going to say is we've obviously chatted a lot about how much we love Cornwall. Obviously, it's our jobs to do that, right? And I'm biased, you're biased, we're all a bit biased. But clearly there's like this underlying massive pride in living in Cornwall. And that's been highlighted by the fact that you guys have been pushing, there's been talks of it becoming independent. And certainly 3 weeks ago, there was a big chat about and lots of press about Cornwall becoming its own country, or I'll probably put that in the wrong way. Yes, I have put that in the wrong way. But Malcolm, can you just tell me about where you, I can't say where you sit on this because you're probably not allowed to say, but...
quite happy to say.
Yeah, no, it'd just be interesting to know whereabouts this currently is sitting.
Well, a lot of it comes back from being an old Celtic country and being a recognised ethnic group by the European Commission, the Cornish are. Now, if you look into that, and my DNA is, I am Cornish, and I have a great-grandfather who's Scottish at spell. If you look into the DNA of a Cornishman, or a Cornish person, I should say, they're basically a mongrel. Because of the tin trading, like half my blood DNA comes from the Iberian Peninsula and north of Africa. So basically, yes, there is a distinctiveness because of trading and tin and everything else. But my line is, and I was always taught this as a child by my family, is I am very, 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 very proud of being a Cornishman. I'm more than happy to be British, but don't ever call me English. And that's the complexity. But I don't believe we want to be a nation. I don't believe any of that. Let's culturally just identify as being slightly different and linked to Wales and Brittany and other places. But we are part of the same country. Just I prefer to think of it as Britain.
Yeah. Judi?
I was just going to say it's that distinctiveness. So we don't want or need to be separate separate country, but the distinctiveness of Cornwall is important. I think that is what draws people to us. We're slightly other, and I think that's a real positive, and that's what should be celebrated. But no, we don't want to go it alone. I don't think.
I can't help but be jealous just of the fact that they're so proud of your country that you've even got this far about thinking about being its sort of own independent region. I think that's brilliant. I mean, realistically, it may not happen, but the fact that you guys are right up there, I'd say, with the Welsh in terms of proud of your nation, I think it's brilliant. Listen, we're getting quite near to the end of our time. I just wanted to ask a few kind of future-facing questions. Malcolm, we've heard a lot about the last 5 years. Do you see any big trends going your way in terms of how you see Cornish tourism specifically going?
I think the main issue is about regenerative tourism. And if I tell you over 25 years, because we're involved in it, as sustainable tourism was stopped doing so much bad, then there was V2 of sustainable tourism, which is try not to do anything bad. And regenerative is about how can it add value to the environment and culture, which is like Judi's free events on the beach, how you can put pollinators in. So, that's a whole big agenda that's rolling out. And the other one is it's all about the experience. It's all about those experiences and those memories you create. I think especially over the last few years in the world it is, people want to create memories and get really involved in experiences, which can be cultural and mental, if you get me, or whatever the right word should be. Intellectual is the word I should have used, rather than just physical. And that sort of balance, particularly about your mental well-being.
Yeah.
Nothing better than a walk on the beach or the cliffs, or I go sailing, and there's nothing more than a day on the water to actually get you rebalanced and put you back in your box and all those
amen
things
to
you got.
that. Amen to that.
Well, I think that's where we should go.
I guess one of the challenges, well, again, looking from the outside, I've always wondered about how to get to Cornwall. There's train routes, there's a lot of people drive down there. Are there any plans to improve that or work on that side of it, making it easier for people to get there from London or from other parts of the country?
Well, the thing you might like to know is dual carriageways and motorways, you can drive all the way down to just outside Penzance. So you've had two big major road improvements. The airport, Cornwall Newquay Airport, is always looking to develop routes. And the fun one, and this goes down well with international visitors, is the sleeper train.
Yes.
More of a snoozer than a sleeper.
Yeah.
But to go off and have some food, have a drink in the first class lounge, get on the train and wake up in Cornwall. Well, you also probably wake up in Hampshire, Wiltshire.
Every stop along the way.
You eventually wake up and get up in Cornwall.
I love that route, Malcolm. I think it's. I will happily do the sleeper train. I've got used to sleeping on it now. It is tricky, but I think there's actually a luxury train coming into Cornwall as well this year from Belmont. So I'm a big advocate for travelling by train into Cornwall. I came from London on the Newquay train, actually, the direct one, a couple of weeks ago. And I think it's a real joy to spend a bit of time travelling like that to start your holiday. So I'm really one for encouraging that.
Talking about train travel, Malcolm, have you done you must have done the St Ives to Lelant train journey?
Several times, and I always remember one time in particular, as the train went round the corner, these Japanese party all started screaming because you suddenly get the view of the sea and St Ives, and they were like, it was like, because I turned around and thought, what's happened?
I am such a child on that train journey. It's all of 6 minutes, and I'm staring out the window at the view is just nuts. And I'm like, I'm literally a walking advert for GWR for that train journey. I just think it's the best thing ever. Sorry, Judi, just conscious of time. Next couple of years, do you see any big changes from, I guess, specifically Watergate, but overall, do you see any big trends in Cornwall?
I'm with Malcolm, and I think that our focus is regenerative tourism. How do we ensure that? How do we become a force for good within our own community and more widely? We talk about active relaxation. We have done for years now, but we're leaning even further into that. as you've all said, it's not just about getting out and walking on the beach or getting in the sea. It's about having time to do things that help you relax. So while guests absolutely don't want to be spoon-fed there, it's not a package holiday, making sure we're presenting opportunities to them, more and more opportunities. One of the things I just wanted to perhaps touch on is, we talked earlier about Cornwall being a year-round destination, and I think as a county we're doing a great deal to attract people to us in the winter months. Just a quick plug from me: we've got an ice rink at Watergate Bay opening on the 17th of November for the first time this year, and it's those things. And there's so much going on in the county in the winter to attract people year round. I think that's really important, and that gives us the sustainable tourism that we need.
I don't know if you've got any more questions. I've got so many questions. I could obviously talk forever, but I'm really conscious we better call it a day.
Yeah, I'm just planning my next trip out there. I definitely want to go out there.
Yeah.
You're going to have to show me where the best Cornish pasties are, the best food spots. I'm sure you've got loads of recommendations.
Yes.
And I know you've done some testing while you're out there as well. So I'm looking forward to those results.
Yeah, I did a Cornish pasty multiple shop taste test in St Ives. But that could be an entire another show. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed today's chat.
Thank you so much, George.
Thank you.
Be in touch. See you guys later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.